Hello, everybody, and welcome. We put this roundtable together real quick. As you can see, I've got my boys ThirtyVirus, TheLividLion, and of course, the newest member to the Game Gurus roundtable community, discussions, whatever you want to call it, Knight0fDoom. What's going on, guys? How we all doing?
Hello. Fantastic.
Hello.
So, Hytale blog post today. It's been 3 months. And the first question, how are we feeling about it? Are we satisfied? Knight0fDoom, you're up. Are you satisfied?
Yes and no. So there were some stuff in it that I thought were really cool, since I'm into like the lore aspect of games. I thought that was neat that they had the Outlanders in it and kind of like a whole different history of Zone 3, but they also didn't show much other than that. And it was really just kind of a dev update saying, hey guys, we're still working on it. Community art showcase, and not much else other than that. We didn't really get to see any other game mechanics or anything. So I would say for the most part, no.
All right, LividLion, how about you?
I'd have to agree with that sentiment 100%. So I'm very happy that we got some more lore stuff because I'm a big lore buff as well. But I'm very disappointed that we didn't at least get something on combat or something. Just the game systems itself. So.
And 30, satisfied, not satisfied?
I think it satisfied a lot of people, but not me personally. I'll give them a pass on the art because they said that was separate. I mean, that's still cool. But as far as development is concerned, I haven't seen hints of any new game mechanics. I'm a very mechanics-oriented guy. I want to know what you could do with the game itself. And, you know, the story was cool. I do appreciate the lore around these the Outlander people. They do strike me as something that's interesting. So it's not just going to be, hopefully it's not just going to be that standard enemy that you meet every 5 seconds and have to take them down. But I don't know. It was a little lacking in terms of just showing off new systems, I guess. Right. But for a lot of people, that's not a problem. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bad blog post.
No, it definitely wasn't a bad blog post. One of the things I've been feeling, though, is, you know, the four of us, we're all avid Hytale followers. And, you know, I think we're really quick to sing praise to Hytale. We're the first ones to be like, yes, this is awesome. This is great. New stuff to make, whatever. But the truth is, they had 3 months to put this together. We were just talking before the stream. 3 months to put together the artwork, which I get. You got to communicate with the artists, make sure you can use their work, stuff like that. I totally get that. But 3 months to capture some footage from Zone 3, some screenshots from Zone 3, and to put together some basic information about the Outlanders. It just, I don't want to say it's a slap in the face. It's not a slap in the face. It's like somebody smacked you with a pool noodle. Like, it didn't hurt, you're still kind of stunned. You know what I mean? That's how I feel right now.
I think it's a PR issue. I don't think it's a matter of how much they can do. I think I said this last time. It's a matter of how much they want to put out there.
And
I don't think they want to reveal much. Yeah. I think they even said, again, that they're a little scared to talk about things like combat and PvP because it's a very heated debate. So I think this was a calculated move. They very well could have gone all out and had like a massive blog post. It's like 10 pages long. But they're holding back because I think they're the amount of content that they're like confident in showing is not as much as what is out there. So,
but we're talking about small bits of, you know, factions are a big part of the game, especially adventure mode. But at the end of the day, you know, you're just giving us a little background on a faction. You've shown us some new NPCs, but we're not talking about systems. You're telling me they said in the blog post they're afraid to reveal too much. And I totally get that because they want players to experience the game firsthand. But what about the systems? The things that are going to... there's nothing to hide in terms of the systems unless you're not confident in those systems. Combat, sure. If you don't want to show combat yet, fine. But there's the entire social aspect of things. There's the entire crafting aspect of things. There's UI interface things they can show. They said these were going to be bigger. And I know the four of us are all systems guys. Yeah, Livid, any thoughts on that?
I just think they're just not ready still. I mean, I think it's just as simple as that because they even said in their July update post that they don't want to spoil things, but they want to make sure that they reach the high standard that we as a community have basically imposed on them because we're, you know, it looks so good already that now they have to live up to every single instance before that and make it better. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much they have to show that if they reveal for instance, like here's crafting, and then all of a sudden later down the road something interferes with the way something works.
Yeah.
They got to change something. They're gonna
Yeah.
feel really upset and have to make an apology to the community and show that, and you're gonna get kickback and all that kind of stuff. So, until they're 100% ready on a system or a certain thing like that, I think it's best in their interest not to show it, because then you alleviate those problems and kickback.
Yeah. Anybody else feel similar?
Yeah, I think this is something that happens all the time. Like, for example, if you're a server owner and you give some rank a feature, everyone's happy, right? But then if you take it away, then the feeling of hate or the feeling of being disappointed is like 10 times greater than the joy that you had when it was brought to you. That's just human nature. So if they were to release something like, hey, this is how combat's going to work, and a lot of people like it, and then they take it away or they change it, there's going to be backlash, which is what's happening in Minecraft right now. Everybody knows that 1.9 plus combat is flawed, but there's still a very vocal community of people that they're pissed that it's being removed or changed. And obviously when 1.8, when 1.9 came out, a lot of 1.8 people were mad, and big changes like that could hurt a game a lot. I think just combat alone almost killed the multiplayer scene in Java Edition. So I think Hytale recognizes that, considering Hypixel's, the server that decided to stay 1.8 through all of that. I think they're very careful to put out there how things will be, because if they make any big changes, there will be backlash.
So we have Simon and Noxy, the two really public faces of kind of the whole Hytale project, right? We do know that there's a PR team. There's Budacat, there's Chris, who both work on the PR press marketing team. We don't see them too much. We see them share things. We see them, push other content out there. But, these two guys who are leading the project are really the driving force behind everything at the moment. And to me, with, my marketing background, something is not working right. And I actually say this in an upcoming video that I'm working on about the things that are really worrying me about this, is that every time there's a marketing opportunity or PR opportunity, you guys are saying that they're afraid to release content. And I hear you there. I totally get that. But eventually they're going to come to a point where like, okay, we're ready to release this game and we haven't told anybody anything. So, I mean, they could just release it. Sure. Why not? But there is some strategy that goes into releasing a game, especially nowadays, right? I mean, obviously you could pull an Apex Legend, and I feel like we've talked about that before, where you could just, boom, game is out, have at it. That could be a huge disaster for a game like Hytale, right? We all know that could be absolute disaster.
I think it would be.
I think it'd just be a waste.
Yeah.
It's a waste of potential to do that.
Right. So say it's, mid 2020, and, we've seen a couple more factions, maybe a couple zones, maybe we learn a little bit about the Altverse, anything like that. And then they're like, okay, we're pulling the trigger. That worries me too. That's not a good rollout in my opinion. But I don't know. The marketing thing, to me, there's something off with the whole marketing of this game, whether we're close or far away from the release, that really concerns me, that the two lead guys are also the biggest drivers of the promotion and marketing of the game.
I think this plays into the fact that they're new to the game dev scene. I think they might have the back end experience. The game itself looks amazing, but I don't think they have the experience in pushing a game out there. I mean, people undervalue that stuff all the time. It takes it definitely takes more money to promote a game than to make one. I mean, I don't know about more effort, but it definitely takes more funding as well with the advertising, and I don't know. I think they might need to do something a little different with the marketing strategy, because memes and blogs every few months isn't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
I think they did. It will for like I think it will for more of the kid end of the community. I think like
the people that
really feel that but for those of us like us, like it's disappointing to us to not see stuff that's interesting information pushed out each week in a little tiny like blurb on Twitter or whatever.
I personally think the simplest move they could make that will make us completely flip our opinion over or change sides of the debate is if they announce a date. it could be a year and a half from now. But if they have a goal, it might even be something that could be pushed back under dire circumstances.
Even an approximation,
An approximation, something. If there
Anything,
was just, if they were like, all right, hey, the way things are looking right now, we are looking at a December release. If it isn't going to happen, we'll let you know, but that's where it's looking right now. At least people will be able to consider it as a real game, because there's so many people right now that have the opinion that it feels fake.
Yeah.
Because they don't see when it's going to come out. They don't see the light at the end of the development tunnel.
And even if they do that, they impose like, okay, we think it's going to be out this time. We get to that time and maybe it isn't finished, but at least at that point they can say we have X, Y, and Z still left to do. Mm-hmm. That's why it's delayed, and everybody's still in the loop and we understand like what's going on. I think the other thing that they did, they got us used to every 2 weeks doing like some technical blog posts, like looking through here, we have World Gen, then we have a model maker, then we have server overview, then we got block tech, then we've got character customization. That's like boom, 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 boom. And that was like all within the first month and a half, within a 6-week span. And then they just kind of stopped doing those altogether. And that's what people were looking for. So I think that one thing that they could have done better is space those out a lot more, because they were releasing these blog posts so frequently and they're getting us used to all this info dump all at one time. And then they started moving more to the smaller, like, here's a little clip of Zone 1. And that was like on a weekly basis. And that was fine. Like little bits of details about a zones that back when they were doing one every week or 2 weeks was fine, because they were smaller intervals and you weren't expecting as much information. But when you go 3 months and you have one of those really small updates that people are used to getting like once every 1 or 2 weeks, I think that's what's really disappointing the community more than anything.
Yeah, the lack of technical substance has been really the kicker for me. It feels cheapened. And that's because they've already brought our expectations to a point where, just like you said, Knight, like we were expecting technical systems and gameplay features and things like that. And, you know, it sounds like, just reading through this blog post, they feel like they're at a crossroads with that. They don't want to reveal too much. They want players to experience it. But I mean, Livid, last time we streamed together, had a great idea. You know, you mentioned a date, Knight0fDoom, just recently. Like, they could have said something about a date, but Livid had an even less risky thing. They could have said, hey, we've got the name reservation system in the works. It's coming out soon. Yeah. They could have told us anything systematically and we would have been happy. Like name reservation, server information, you know, technical alpha is starting for internal team. They could have said anything. It didn't really, they didn't have to come out with a beta release. I think everybody and your, you know, your communities, my community, it's always like, where's the beta? Where's the next trailer? There's so much more they could have done. But you know,
one thing I am looking forward to with them, though, is because they're so used to, you know, interacting with the community and listening to what the community wants. What my hope is for them, and what would be really good for them, is if they were to listen to this and get word of it somewhere, and they would hear it enough that I can make that decision to, okay, this is what people want. It may be a little more than we're feeling comfortable with releasing, but this is what the people want. This is what they need to stay interested in the game. And I'm hoping that they do realize that. So, and they do have a really good history, like Hypixel, most successful server on Minecraft right now, because how good they are at listening to their community and giving the community what the community wants. So I do still have hope for that. And I'm definitely hoping to see that in the coming blog posts sometime soon. Yeah,
they definitely have some pieces to figure out on the behind the scenes aspect, especially because they've said they're going to add more jobs soon. And they need to figure out their promotional angle, their marketing angle. They have a lot of name recognition, right? You guys who play Minecraft, you know who Hypixel is. A lot of people in that community do. But there is a new audience that they could attract, and they need to try and capitalize that. You better believe that they want the absolute most bang for their buck when it comes to people playing their game. So they're, of course, going to want to get better. We're talking from 4 content creators who are avidly following this content, just like politics. You avidly follow something, so every minute detail, and you pick it apart. So I don't think the 4 of us are unhappy or not interested in Hytale. Of course, we're all
definitely not. No,
it's just they could possibly be doing better from our perspective.
And I'm really happy with the blog post. I just wish there was more.
Yeah, I just wish there was more. Yeah,
I think it was a fine blog, but as the first thing we even see from them in 3 months, it was
3 months.
I mean, if we're talking our type of interest, it's been like 4.5, almost 5 months since we've gotten any real tangible like information, and that was the mob behaviors post.
Right.
That opened up the door to all sorts of crazy things that people could do, like custom coding mob behaviors and things like that. And then once you look after that, it's like, oh, this is how we made the sounds, this is how we designed the monsters. And then it's just
visual tour, monsters.
Yeah, we touched on this earlier. It's just like there's no real content. Well, there's content, but it's not like it doesn't open the door to anything else. It's just like, hey, look what we made with the tools we already showed you. It's not like, hey, here's a new tool.
Here's something completely new that you haven't seen before that's going to be incorporated into the game. Yeah.
And even the lore pieces that we got with this blog post, there's the two main aspects that I wanted to know about the Outlanders are left in mystery still. So, like, it didn't answer questions that I really had about them. I kind of already knew they're isolationist and all that kind of stuff, like by the way they portrayed them already.
And their name being Outlanders.
So like it didn't really provide us with new info or context really on them. We got a little hint that water magic is the main thing of that zone, and that comes along with being able to summon undead and stuff like that. So like that was an interesting little thing, but other than that, I didn't get much from it, even though it was a fairly lengthy post.
So we could, we can kind of go on for quite a bit about the frustrations that we have, but we did get a blog post. Let's take a peek at it. Let's talk about it here.
So first thing that I noticed when the wolf is attacking the Outlander is immediately like the surroundings, and there's like a village behind it, and they did mention that Outlanders would be going out and kind of exploring other regions because they do need to go out and hunt and survive and all that. So what I really liked about this is that they put a lot of detail into, like, first of all, the Outlander design itself. Like, it looks like something, a person that's going to be surviving in the cold, and he's got like a face mask on, he's got his full suit on, and just the overall design of the character too. But secondly, like, the whole snowy feel to everything, like the wolf, it's all white, bushes, you got your little snow cap, because in Minecraft all we get is just the snow blocks, and it's just on top of something, and that's your snow look. Whereas in this, you've got your snowflakes coming down, they all look kind of different. You got some nice, I don't know if that's used in like their cinematic whatever they're doing or whatever, but I'm noticing like there's depth of field and all sorts of other stuff there, just to really bring in the whole, it's snowy, it's cold, and just the Zone 3 environment there.
If I could quickly say something, I think Kodiak, your mic is still not working.
Really?
Can you guys hear me?
Okay, tell them to say something in the tell them to say something in the chat if they can hear you.
Hey, did they get it? Did they hear me? Can they hear me? Hey, I'm good now.
You're good
right,
now.
There we go.
Okay,
cool. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
Sorry about that, guys. Made a new frame really quick right before the stream so we could kind of look at all this stuff as we're talking about it. All right, cool. Any Livid 30? Anything from that first shot that piqued your interest? I
think there's a little bit of the combat stance when fighting. It's not just the generic character standing there and swinging his arm.
Oh yeah, and it's like,
I think I
like
that. And the wolf attacks look more dynamic than just normally staying on the ground. Like that's the things that I pick out when I look at those details, and those excite me. So.
Yeah, the wolf definitely looks like it's a different variation. I know variation in wildlife is something that the team has talked about a little bit. It does look like it's a little bit beefier of a wolf, different than the Chork wolf that accompanies the hunter.
So one thing I noticed that is kind of in plain sight, these are two NPCs fighting each other.
Definitely. Yep.
So that opens up. So I guess that does give us some information regarding a living world, right? That these fights could happen outside of any players. This could just be something that's happening in the background, which I think is kind of cool.
Which is part of that behavioral blog post from a while ago where, like the Chork would try and throw its javelin at a pigeon or whatever the heck it was. Like, this is the same concept. An Outlander gets attacked by a wolf, wolf sees it, attacks anything, and Outlander fights back.
And I'm excited for that because it brings a lot of life to the game, and it feels like you're in a living, breathing world. Whereas in Minecraft, the only thing that you get with that is maybe like a dog attacking a sheep, and that's literally it. Or maybe like a zombie attacking a villager, but that's two very basic things. Whereas this is a whole living, breathing world where different NPCs are going to react with their own groups and against different NPCs differently. Like they'll know which one's hostile, which ones to go after to hunt, which ones are friendly, and I think that just adds a whole new kind of life dynamic to the game. So it makes people feel more a part of the world.
Absolutely. Now, that first guy we were just talking about, we've seen before, but this second guy, the second Outlander, has some variation to it. I'm sure this piqued everybody's interest. He's got a different face mask, different breastplate. Can't really tell what weapon he's using, some sort of axe of some sort, and obviously a really cool shield. Livid, any thoughts on that one?
Well, I think they said that he's one of the leaders, right? The ones that kind of patrol the walls and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so, and they have the face mask. I like how the expressions of them. They don't have expressions. I like that they're very, very cold.
Just mask.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, anything that we can speculate, just because this is technically our Sunday stream happening on a Wednesday. So, what do you think? What's going to define the leader as a leader? You know, what is he going to have different abilities? Is he going to be more challenging? What are the standard things that we think are going to define a leader? Besides your cat. He's got opinions.
I just think he looks not only beefier, but it looks like, you know, when it comes to like a warrior and stuff, they have the sword and they just block with the sword. Whereas this guy looks like, you know, he has an ability to fight while also maybe defending himself, which makes him a little more of a complex, challenging fight.
His AI is probably going to be a whole lot better when fighting and able to predict a lot more of your moves.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a little bit more health, but I think the focus should be a more complicated fight, that he'd be able to block arrows with his shield, maybe even shield bash you if you get too close or something like that. I can't help but imagine that it'd be kind of cool, not even for this guy specifically, maybe a different character, if there was like a Yoda-like martial artist where they do flips and jump and they're like hard to hit and stuff. That would be really cool as well, as like another mini boss type thing.
Definitely going to be doing something with the shield. Obviously, he's got the shield kind of like resting, which is interesting too, right? This is all gameplay within Hytale footage, and the shield's kind of like resting at his feet, which makes me believe there's almost an idle animation, perhaps. When he's sitting on the wall, his shield is idling kind of at his feet. He'll pick it up if something comes close. That's a pretty complicated animation. That's a pretty intricate kind of system. Usually with an idle thing, they're just sitting there, or maybe they kind of slump a little bit. But that's pretty complex. You know, the axe on the shoulder, the shield on the ground. There he is. There's the cat. Doing it for the stream. And yeah, another thing, I don't know if we've seen a ton of fire in these images and the animation so far. Is there
some green fire in this blog post?
Yeah, we'll be getting to that.
Yep, definitely. All right, so definitely cool. The leaders, a new part of the Outlanders faction. Next up, we have this shot of the Rangers. Really cool shot. Who wants to start with this one?
They're taking cover behind blocks, which is kind of neat.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, is this like almost like a prep stealth animation, idle animation, something like that? It's always so hard to know, but the guy on the right clearly almost like reacting off of what his buddy is doing, right? He's sitting there kind of like
he's kind of waiting. Yeah. And one thing I just noticed now, as the bison walks over, the guy with his bow kind of like trains and follows him. That's kind of neat.
Yeah,
that is cool.
I was really hoping they were going to release the arrow to try and get a little glimpse of the physics. But you know, they're smarter than us apparently, and they aren't going to do that. So I just think the design of them is really cool. As all three of you guys are designers and some, right? So what do you guys think of the design of these guys?
Oh, I think it's really neat.
Oh, I think it's really fitting for their area. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep. The cloak is really, really cool on them.
The cloak and the kind of camouflage to blend in with their environment, kind of dark forest decence. That's where they are in the zone.
Yeah. I can't help but look at how complicated the situation is. I'm not easily impressed by visuals, but I do admit it looks nice. But just the fact that it's such a complicated thing that they're doing, that like, I'm really interested to see how far this will go. Like, if you're just walking along in Outlander territory without knowing, will they just straight up snipe you, and then like the second you get hit, they're like behind the wall.
They all pop out from behind
you turn around and they're like, Where, like, if they had, and then they like scurry like behind a tree or something, they change locations so you can't find them. Like little things like that would be really neat. And this suggests that there's some intelligence in the way they fight instead of like straight up, a skeleton spawning in darkness in Minecraft and they just shoot at you until they die.
Yeah.
Like,
if they're like losing a fight, if they would actually retreat. And not just attack you till they're dead. I think that'd be really cool.
The behavior is one of the things out of this blog post that has furthered my interest in the game. Is like these guys all have really unique behaviors, and I really want to see how they play out in the actual gameplay. Like you said, this is a really complicated scene. This is not a simple scene here of just two guys standing by some blocks. It's much more complicated than that. And one more thing for you lighting experts out there, look at that lighting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the volumetrics are awesome. Yeah.
I mean, is there anything in a a Minecraft universe that looks even similar to that, close to that?
You'd have to have shaders.
Yeah, you need the shaders.
I mean, that
need the
shaders. Yeah.
So that's
the
a huge
shaders, but that's the
accomplishment in
default
itself.
game.
I mean, that's incredible. If that's the base game right there, that is incredible.
Yeah, I was even saying today that like just the way that they presented this game so far, I don't even have a desire to get an alternate texture pack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Whenever I play Minecraft, I always have a desire to make it just look a little bit better. Like,
yeah.
I like the classic style sometimes, but there's times where I'm building something I like it to look a little different and everything.
It does come with age though. Minecraft, it took a while for me at least to even think about a texture pack. Like I didn't even start using one until like 2016, 2017.
It's a 10-year-old game, so you have to cut some slack.
I played with default for like 7 years.
Does that worry you guys at all in terms of the complexity with, I know one of the questions that we see quite often on different videos and stuff is, is my low-end potato computer going to be able to run this? Does that give you guys any worry of the complexity of what we've seen so far with lower-end computers?
I think there'll be graphic settings, you'll be able to tune this down.
It'll be like high, medium, low.
Yeah.
All that. It should be pretty well optimized. Looks like it's a very well optimized engine. But
like even low end computers these days, right? That can run Minecraft phenomenally. So I don't think they'll have a problem. This is like a step up, visual fidelity from what Minecraft was, but at the end of the day, it's still all running with Java and everything. So I think
everything's blocks. It's not high poly, so you're not going to have a lot of problems with like loading in things.
Right.
Yeah.
With a C# engine and being built from the ground up specifically for this, I think it should have a much better time than Minecraft does with just about everything. So I'm not concerned about performance personally.
Awesome. So moving on to a next image here, another ranger pointing his bow at the camera here. Nothing mind blowing here. Kind of actually a step down in my opinion from the last picture. There's some, you see some cool particle effects with the snow. You see another campfire in the background and some of that purple glow that we've come to know and love from the Outlanders. We see a flag, which is probably the most interesting thing with their sigil on it, I guess you could assume. That's kind of interesting. But other than that, any strong thoughts about this image?
First of all, your mic is popping. At least for me.
I don't think the stream is hearing that.
Is the stream not doing that?
It's a Discord thing.
Yeah, it's me. Discord. It's me. Sorry.
One thing I noticed is that some of these fence posts are spiked, which might look mundane, but what if that's like the potential for some sort of automatic farm? Do you get damaged by stepping on those?
Yeah. And they're pretty elevated though, so it'd almost be like a fall damage type thing if you fall on them.
Well, the thing is, it's a block. You can probably just straight up put them on the ground if you wanted.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the equivalent of like a log and a fence on top of it in Minecraft.
Right.
So probably just more so for aesthetics.
Yeah. Anything else with this one?
I like there's a fair amount of difference in what's it called, ground foliage, even within 3 blocks of each other, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty complex.
We've got what do we got? So we've got the pinkish flower here. We've got the small grass block. It looks like a fern in the back.
That cat
really wants to be on camera, man. I'll tell you. And then some sort of like clover, very small ground foliage.
What is that?
Cat is not happy about this one. Cool. So let's move on to the next one. I mean, if we want to talk about showcasing light and what Zone 3 is going to look like, it's this one right here. So let's talk about this for a second. A little bit of the settlement inside of Outlanders camp.
They got particles going on. They got torches going on. They got some awesome lighting going on there. It's just
a lot happening.
Really beautiful scene. Yeah.
I think that's a barrel on the left side there.
Yeah, definitely looks like a barrel.
And a crate on the right side.
Yeah,
and you've got some like little red growths on the right, and just the overall attention to detail on all these is just amazing.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that's interesting actually, like there's a platform on the left side that's not, the floor is not a full block. That's
true.
like a wooden, like,
Yeah.
not even like not yeah. That's not a full block.
That's really cool.
Is that something we
That's
haven't seen
interesting.
before? Is that a premiere of a new type of block, I guess?
And those walls even aren't even a full block in length. They look like actual thin fences and thin floors with,
That is interesting. And I mean, obviously they're showcasing those connective blocks we saw a few blog posts ago with the block tech. But that thin flooring is really cool. Almost, I can't tell if it's coming off of that structure, as if it's like almost like a,
I think it is
like a platform deck type thing.
Yeah, I think it is.
So that's really interesting too.
It doesn't look like we've seen, because I'm even looking at the old Watchtower image, and those were just half slabs. So that looks like something new that we haven't
something brand new
seen.
there that we that's so easy to miss, right? So easy to miss that.
I missed it.
Yeah, good catch, 30. That's a nice one. But yeah,
I can't help but look at things from this point of view. Like, sure, it looks nice, but I'm looking for like what mechanically is going on in here.
For sure.
One thing that is a little concerning for me, though, I don't know how mob spawning mechanics work, but I know there's a lot of torches in this scene. And one thing that I really didn't like about Minecraft is how everything had to be lit up with torches.
You're starting to get Minecraft PTSD.
And I'm hoping this isn't necessary. I hope this was just a choice because it looked good, not because it had to be this way for mob spawning mechanics to work a certain way. But yeah,
very true.
Yeah, that is a lot of torches. Cool. Moving on to the next image here. Really cool NPC. Very dark for this type of game. Something that I don't think a lot of people are used to seeing. There's really some
He's just got metal screwed in his head.
Yeah,
because VR headset on.
Yeah, VR headset. He's a really sadistic image, and one I thought was really, really cool. Gave me a very big cultist vibe. So let's break down this scene. What are people looking at right now?
I'm also seeing that little table off to the left. I don't know what
left. Yeah, little table.
Looks like a potion.
Yeah, it might be.
Looks like something. Yeah.
There's something about these cultists that is just like they're a little they're off-putting. They're not. They almost don't feel the same as the rest of the Outlanders because the other ones
don't feel alive.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe from Borderlands. How there's the psychos.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, they all have.
And look at his weapon. Like it's some weird dragon head. I don't know what that thing. It's like a little beak almost.
Yeah.
Interesting. You don't know if that's like a staff or what that is.
One thing that really piqued my interest with these guys and pretty much everybody in the Outlanders faction is this kind of like gemstone, green gemstone that's always part of all these characters.
That's everywhere.
It's everywhere with this faction. It's green. This neon green is a big part of this faction. You can even see in the banner behind them that the green core is at the center of that banner. So there's something there, whether it be some sort of item of power or some sort of magic element. Could be something connected to Varen. Obviously, Varen is green. So there's a lot to uncover. I know Livid and Knight, you guys are huge lore heads.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot to uncover. We're not going to get that before we actually get to play the game, unfortunately, but there's something there.
If I had to guess, I would say they're pulling power from the corruption.
Yeah?
Yeah, could be.
Dark magic.
Got that nice purple, and they said that their magic was more dark than most places, so could be.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. In the background here, we see a guy walking downstairs. How are stair animations handled in Minecraft currently?
There is none.
There's just none.
You just pop. Yeah, you just kind of
pop. Yeah. So if you know their legs don't quite look like they're long enough, do you think we're gonna get full blown walking down and up stair animations, or do you think they're still gonna struggle with that?
I think it'll look kind of bouncy.
A little bit, but it'll look fairly real.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of like in Cube World, how you just kind of bounce up, but it looks smooth. I don't know what's going on frame by frame, but it looks natural. However they did it.
And working with my Minecraft animations too, like even though in Minecraft is stiff, I'm working with the same proportions as what's in the game. It's still not incredibly hard to get the character walking down the stairs, and it may not be perfect, but it still looks good enough to be believable.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So I think I wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah. Couple more foliage points here. All the way to the left side, we see some sort of like weeping purple foliage. Directly behind the cultist at the forefront of the shot, we got another kind of like twisting, vibrant purple foliage, and then it's hard to tell if there's another thing behind him that's kind of similar to the one on the left. I think it is, but yeah. And obviously this guy's got a tattoo. That's kind of cool too.
Oh yeah.
On his wrist.
Yeah, on his wrist there. All right, so moving on to another little animation here. Obviously, the one that got everybody excited was the guy in the background.
Fire.
Well, the green fire
and the ladder.
but let's talk about the ladder first, since we were just talking about stairs.
I'm noticing a lot of things.
There's a ladder.
There is
There's got a
so
wavy
much
flag.
stuff happening. Yeah, there's a waving.
There's something
flag.
running along in the
I
background.
saw a mouse.
I saw a mouse too. Yeah, yeah. And there's like some sort of treasure chest or something in the background with a skull on it.
There's an urn.
Oh, in the bottom right, there's just a guy just standing there. I didn't even notice him before. Like
yeah,
when
it
it
looks
first
like a
starts
guard.
out.
Yeah,
He's just
warriors. Yeah.
So lot to unpack here. First off, first impressions. How do we feel about that fire animation?
I think it looks nice.
I like it.
You guys
It's
like
better
it?
than Minecraft.
It's like bouncing a little bit, and it's not like entirely realistic, but I still think it works, especially for the feel that the game is going for. And the smoke above it too. That's
Yeah.
what impresses me the most.
The
think
smoke
the fact
looks real.
The smoke looks
blocky.
great. Like holy cow.
Yeah, definitely very cool. And next thing, since we're kind of talking about animations, one thing that I'm not seeing as much as I would have hoped is what do you guys feel about that cloth animation of kind of their loin cloth thing? Is that okay for you guys, or does it feel a little stiff?
It's a little stiff, but I feel like it's okay considering it is still kind of a blocky game. It does have a little bit of wave to it, and there's
Yeah,
not
I
really much
barely
wind
even
blowing,
noticed it.
so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time
Yeah,
that
I
you kind of
agree.
see the
It's pretty
foliage
simple.
waving, the flag waving, and that's the one thing, just in terms of, if I'm being super nitpicky, I'm looking at it like, oh, that's some really stiff loincloth he's got on there.
I did notice the treasure chests in the background too. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
with a little skull on it, yeah.
Yeah, and it almost seems like, again, what is happening in terms of this animation here? Are we, is this their patrol animation? That's kind of what, obviously there's some sort of leader that shows up. He's got a
Mysterious
badass-
rituals.
Yeah. So
That's one of the priests, I think. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's one of the priests
priests.
walking up.
Yeah, one of the priests. But again, in the context of them getting the shot, something must have happened. There must have been some sort of behavior that made this all happen. So there's a lot going on in this scene. It's really cool.
I think that ladder animation is funny.
That ladder,
Cool.
yeah. Just kind of.
It is a little, I don't know. Almost looks like his legs don't quite work.
They're just kind of
But his feet
flopping
are
along.
still moving. So yeah, and
It is a
obviously-
pretty funny looking animation.
yeah. But I gotta
Knight does
imagine
have
it's
a
better
face.
than Minecraft's.
Mhm.
Yeah, because of Minecraft, you just kind of hover up.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, moving on to the next one. We got our priesty boy. This guy looks like
Yeah,
trouble.
That's
I love this
cool.
guy's design.
I won't want to run across him.
Yeah, looks like trouble. Big old spike at the end of his pole there. And that actually up top there looks like a different variation of a bat. We've seen the big cave bats. That looks like a different kind of bat up there too.
It looks like a crow to me.
Crow, bat, and then the sky, it's got like green, like some aurora borealis or something. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, it does.
That's cool.
Yeah,
You can see really far too. Look at how far away those trees
Yeah,
are.
the
in the
clarity
background.
is great. You got a little watch post back there. You got your torch lights again,
Yeah.
and you got the leaves on that look a little different too. Like on the trees to above him.
Yeah,
and
I think
left
they
of him.
took the leaf alphas and they're like branch alphas, so it makes it look even more
Any more
like
just
dead
kind of
and twisted.
dead.
Yeah.
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 And
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
that's not
line
even like
kinda
that's not
dead.
even blocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
very
it's
cool.
good that they're crossing the line. Like there's some points where it's just not blocks, like the smoke,
Yeah.
like the branches, and I think that is a good thing. Honestly,
I think they're integrating it well. Yeah.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
that? What do you guys think of that little like wooden thing to the right there? Like with all these smaller blocks kind of jutting out in weird shapes. What is this?
No idea.
I noticed
be a
that on
dead
trees
tree.
too. Yeah, like they'll have little different pieces coming out just to make them feel like more than just one stump.
yeah, it just
So-
looks like a dead tree to me.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind
what
of
I
like an
think.
awkward shape. So I looked at it and I'm
Looks
like,
really weird.
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. It's almost like it doesn't fit perfectly in the scene, but again, we're being nitpicky.
I'm seeing so many torches by those houses. I'm concerned.
Yeah.
All right,
Could
well,
just be that they want to see, but
you should be
You never know.
concerned because our big friend is back, and
where's he?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
this guy,
Oh.
he looks. Oh my! Why did my display capture freeze? Did everything?
I'm gonna
freeze?
call him Brutus.
Oh, he is a badass, and obviously he's changed, right? Look at that arm. What
Mm-hmm.
is going on with that arm?
Yeah, it looks like a crab arm or something.
Giant enemy crab.
Yeah, and it's a obviously we just saw the priest with kind of that red color palette, but this is it almost looks like it's got some sort of, yes, it does kind of look crab-like. And we already know, what is it? Who is it? Simon or Noxie? One of them loves crabs from that meme.
You know what's funny? Something about this clip that I can't get over. He's holding his weapon in his right hand, which would suggest he's righty. But then he hits you with the left hand.
Hits you with the left. Yeah, this is like weird.
If you have a weapon, wouldn't you hit with the weapon?
Yeah, yeah.
Not if you're a crab.
Yeah, not if you're a crab. Come on, man. Gotta use that crab arm. Yeah, so he's clearly transformed since we first saw him, which is, you know, almost seemed like he was more decrepit and less powerful. Just speculating wildly here. Some sort of ritual beefed him up. Maybe that's one of the quest lines or one of the world events we have to figure out. You have to stop a ritual. You don't stop it in time, and boom, you get to fight this mother effer. This guy is huge. He's massive.
Yeah, one of the things I was speculating on was we initially fight maybe the leader early on, and if we kill him, they bring him back in a like almost Frankensteinish form.
Ooh.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
and he's like big, beefier, kind of undead, and then you fight him again, but he's like twice as strong now. So
yeah, because if we had to kill this guy first, and then the first one that we saw in the announced trailer, who did seem more zombie-esque, if you will, but he didn't have those transformations. Like the arm wasn't the same, so it almost seems like that guy was first, and then this guy.
yeah.
But yeah, he is totally cool. The design is awesome. I saw a couple people talking about the screen shake. Do we think that's gonna be a thing?
I hope it is.
I hope that's not. I hope that's not in post. I hope that's actually in the game because that's pretty cool.
I want to be just going through somewhere, and then you don't even know this thing's there or something like this is there, and then you just everything just starts shaking. You're like, oh, I need to.
Like, oh.
Yeah,
that is not a good sign.
Definitely. And we got, obviously, just to cover all the bases here, we got a couple more little green fire. We've got some more almost like mossy ivy on the walls, slightly different than the ivy we saw in the building blog from a couple weeks ago. And then there's some of those pillar blocks that they talked about on the left side there. As they zoom out, I'm gonna pause it here. Of course, everything.
Yeah, the background is like a red sky.
Yeah, check out that background once this goes away here.
Ooh.
It's like red and orange and yellow. It's really crazy.
Is that the same area of the dragon in the trailer? Remember that? Like they're in that like mortuarium kind of area. Like,
might be.
It might be. It definitely looks like it. I mean, you got the columns. You've got obviously the stone above. Definitely's got that undead feel. So
you got that stone to the left hand side that kind of looks like a building top. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Aaron, just so you know, we are answering questions. We're just going through the blog post now. We've just been having a good old time. So if you guys do have questions or want to chime in, please feel free to do so. So that's the last thing from the Outlanders post. Overall, pretty good. We've got a lot of detail that we kind of broke down. Obviously, 30 found out about that platform thing you pointed out. That's pretty cool. We got one more little taste here of this fun little scene from Zone 1 with a boar and a bunch of Quebecs.
I love this one.
Great little scene. Somebody want to start by breaking it down?
It's a fun visual.
It is a fun visual.
I think it's very interesting to see that it looks like there's three different stages of the Quebec life cycle there, kind of.
Yeah.
And they're all aggressively chasing. So just because the one dude's the old ancient doesn't look like he's gonna give up any chase anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's consistent with like vegetables, how they start out really green, but then they get color as they ripen.
Yes. I love the little flop of the leaves on the top of their head as they run by.
Yeah.
It feels really charming. I think that's really fun. And then the boar's expression is ridiculous. I just it almost feels a little over the top to me, but
I love it.
I love it. It's so goofy and perfect. It's a great little scene. Anything else in this? Obviously, some more foliage. We've got a purple plant on the left in the mid-ground. We've got an orange leafed plant kind of in the background. Some mushrooms up close. What are your thoughts on this like smaller rock thing up front? What do we think? Do we think that's a block? Do we think that's a resource? Do we think that's anything of importance?
What, right in the middle of the screen? The wood
between the bushes here. It's not a full block of stone. It's kind of like a half block of stone.
Oh yeah, it looks kind of like how the ores, how there's just like block creations.
Hey,
maybe they'll have things that instead of having to mine stone right away, you can pick up little pieces of stone that are like foliage, like ground clutter.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Rocks confirmed.
Rocks
yes.
confirmed.
Rocks confirmed.
Yeah, I'm interested. What would you get when you mine that? Would you just get a stone block, or would you get like a stone piece?
I don't know.
No.
Great question. Oh, look at this guy Flame in the chat. He's late to the party. He didn't even know there was a blog post today. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No, we're just
I'm trying to
messing
find.
with you.
There's always something hiding in the background in these sort of clips, and I just don't see anything.
A lot of foliage back there. You can see a lot of
lot
little
of
dots of
foliage.
things. Really cool stuff. I can't tell if those are mushrooms all the way in the back there.
There's a lot of fog in these scenes, you know?
There is a lot of fog in the scenes, definitely.
I've noticed that.
There's also some sort of blue plant all the way in the back here, which I believe we've seen before. And then almost on the hilltop in the far back is like a white plant, perhaps.
Yeah, looks like I forgot what it was, a daisy or something. I don't know.
I think all of it, though, at least, I mean, it's so vibrant and it feels like part of the world, not just like an afterthought, that I think it's going to be something that you can collect and farm. I think all of these are going to play a big part in the alchemy or potion making, crafting cycle, and there's a lot of stuff. I mean, they jam pack stuff.
My mic was off. Wait, how long has that been off?
Have you been talking at all in this 45 minutes? We haven't heard you at all. What are you talking? No, I'm just messing with you.
Okay. I was like getting genuinely concerned. Okay.
No. Yeah, so they packed a lot of foliage, especially in the Zone 1 scenes, but some really cool stuff here.
I just love how complicated the animations are. It's so funny. Like, one thing that actually came up in a conversation I was having with Fezzi recently is like the game's tick speed. Do you think it's going to be faster than 20?
I think so.
Based on like these animations alone, I would say there might have to be, like, to keyframe things that precisely, you might need higher
That's
than
looking 60 to me.
Yeah.
higher
like,
than 20 TPS with like, because for combat especially, that's very important that it be at least like 60. It would be really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think Simon just said, I don't remember where I saw this tweet thread, but combat is already feeling really good to him, and obviously a developer is going to say that, but I feel like he's been pretty candid about things like that, and he said it's not done yet, it's not polished yet, so who knows? The combat, if he's feeling good about it, I think that's a great sign for all of us that combat's in a really good place. At least the sword and board combat, which is really the only combat other than a few spells that we've seen.
Yeah.
Fezzi responded to you, said, I was talking tick rate. There would need to be more information being told to you and from the client for a really smooth experience.
Yeah. He was saying that that's one of the problems with Minecraft's combat. Also, sorry with the background noise.
Oh, you're good.
But he was saying that one of the big problems is that hits not registering properly, reach being kind of iffy because the game runs at 20 TPS max, and that at least in PvP is a big problem. I don't know if it's that big a deal in survival, probably not, but I don't know.
Question here from Aaron in the chat. Do you think that third-person perspective is going to play a role more than it did in Minecraft?
Oh, definitely. I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
Like we saw in the trailer with the guy with the two-handed mace. I'm thinking like for bigger weapons like that have more like an area effect, a big swing, you're going to want third person. But if it's something more, it's just like one-handed sword and shield or like a bow or something you have to aim with, I think that's going to be first person. So I think that they're more than likely they're going to have an option where you can switch between the two. And yeah.
What about from a PvP perspective? Do you think you're going to be able to swap them in PvP?
Well, yeah, I think it'll be like Minecraft.
Should be.
You can just kind of toggle.
You just press
whenever.
F5 and then boop, boop, boop. Yeah, back.
If I had a theory, I'm gonna go out and say right now with that mace swinging animation, if you're in first person, I think just for that, it might put you in third person for that one action and then put you back in first.
Yeah, because I would get sick playing.
You would get motion sick.
You would get. Yeah.
That's what I think is probably going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the third-person thing, there seems like there's a lot of evidence to support that third-person is going to be a big priority for them, but it also doesn't seem like they're going to totally forget about first-person. Obviously, that really iconic scene with the sword and board fighting the Trork. So we've seen first-person. It's hard to tell if we've seen real third-person, because it's hard to tell without crosshairs and a UI and all that stuff, but we've seen both perspectives, in a pretty substantial way. So I think they're really going to focus on both.
I think there is one clip that was definitely third person and not like some camera pan, and that was in the Block Technologies post, I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Where they showed it was like around a player or whatever.
Yeah.
Foliage or something. I don't remember.
In the last 10 minutes here, guys, if you have any questions, we'll happy to answer them, speculate, just shoot the question around the horn. From Joseph here, how do you think they will make each race you can play feel unique? They teased races a while ago, and they said, hey, you can play as other races. That's it. That's all we know, right? So are they going to do some sort of passive? Are they going to give them different abilities? What do you guys think?
I think it's just cosmetic.
Yeah, it's probably going to be cosmetic, yeah.
I hope it's more than cosmetic, but it's probably cosmetic.
It'd be hilarious seeing like this. You can play as a Quebec, and he's holding like this giant 4-foot mace swinging it around. It'd be a little ridiculous.
Do you think in adventure mode they're going to take the World of Warcraft approach and have different zones and different lore? I mean, you would imagine they'd have different lore behind each of the races, right? You think they're going to go that route and have you start in a different area?
I think so. Maybe something like that.
I think we'll always start in Zone 1.
I think we'll always start in Zone 1, yeah. But like,
we'll probably have the same experience as far as progression is concerned. I don't think they're going to have a different campaign for each.
I think the campaign will be the same, but maybe some of the side stuff it will be a little different, and that's to be expected with your varying races.
Right. I mean, that's the biggest part of an identity, especially again going back to my World of Warcraft roots. I mean, you start in a completely different place, a different set of quests. That really is what solidifies you as a night elf or an orc or Tauren or a blood elf. You have a very, very different initial experience, and by completely cutting that out. Do you think the races aspect of things will be cheapened, or do you think it doesn't really matter?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you're just a curmudgeon, all right, man. Always coming into these streams being a curmudgeon.
I think in the context of this game, I don't think it matters, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think at least the players race specifically, I don't think it plays that big a part. Maybe there'll be like dialogue changes. Maybe I don't even know if there's dialogue. Actually,
yeah, that's very true.
I mean, they haven't showcased it. They haven't even brought it up. So when you say no dialogue, do you mean no cutscenes at all, or just no dialogue within cutscenes?
I don't think there's going to be voice acting, if that's a thing. There is a quest system, so I mean, you have to get the quest from somebody. It might just be you walk up to an NPC and press a button.
Yeah. That's pretty standard for video games.
That is pretty standard.
Final Fantasy myself.
I don't think I would want voice acting anyways, because it kind of cheapens things. Like, I don't know, if you add a voice to something and it's not well done, it kind of makes the experience worse.
But not only that, but you have to do all languages too.
Yeah. All languages. Yeah. Like, I for one, I play a lot of Bloons Tower Defense, and when they added the heroes, and then when the heroes had their stupid catchphrases, I felt like I was being babysat or something, because it was so lame.
I remember that.
It ruined the whole audio experience for me until I found the setting and turned it off. But that, I kind of hope that, I don't know, it's a feature I think they just shouldn't bother with. I'm perfectly fine with just text popping up on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, just playing devil's advocate for a second. What if they did find really great ways to bring these characters to life? I think a lot of people think that some sort of vocal, response to you clicking on them or interacting with them helps to solidify their experience. If they, obviously it's a lot of work, but they're clearly putting in the work. They're putting in the time. So I'm not so worried about that. Do we think it could have any sort of place in Hytale?
I think that if anything, rather than voices, maybe a sound effect. Like if you ever played Legend of Zelda games and your fairy goes to talk with you, it's just a little hey, or just almost sounds like a sound effect. Or you go interact with someone, it's just a little sound effect. So I think that could be one way that they do it.
There's two games that I think did something that's very similar. Cube World has, when you talk to an NPC, it's like boop, 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 and it's like it's not a voice, it's a noise.
One more time.
It's clearly not a.
It's a sound effect. Yeah.
One more time for me for the stream. Do it for the stream. Come on. Oh, okay. I just couldn't hear you the first time.
And then if you're and then if you're in Undertale, it's the same thing, except it's like kind of more towards a voice. Like it's everyone knows what sand sounds like. It's like I don't know.
ThirtyVirus is available for voice acting.
Perfect.
He's currently doing $5 for an hour worth of voice work.
Something like that would probably have a place in Hytale, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of just like a blurb, but not really like actual voice acting. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so in the last 5 minutes here, let's go back to kind of where this conversation started. The blog posts themselves. The team said they expect to put out blog posts every few weeks. Seems like they're beating that same drum that we've heard before. Do we believe them?
I think after they see the community's responses, I'm hopeful that we'll see at least one a month.
They
one
might
month
drop
would be
off.
Nice. Okay.
They might drop off, but I'm hoping that they don't, and they actually stick to once every few weeks, like they said.
Yeah, I'd be okay with every 3 weeks. Would be fine with me.
Every 3 or 4 weeks, yeah. I wouldn't mind
But
that.
we've been misled before.
Yeah.
So
And one of the things now, obviously, we were in a cycle, and obviously they're breaking a lot of our cycles, right? We're human beings. We're creatures of habit. You know, we were used to blog posts on Friday. Nope, we're
like
going to drop
schedules.
it on a Wednesday.
Yep.
So, you know, and obviously they're just trying to break up our expectations. I don't know if that's a conscious thing or if that's just something they're like, okay, we got it done. And maybe everything they said is true. Noxie went on a business trip. He couldn't read the Google Doc or whatever it is. He doesn't, I don't know whatever the excuse may be. And then they're like, okay, it's Wednesday. We got our feet under us again. The week's going good. Drop it. So I'm skeptical. But I do think
Hytale works on Valentine's.
one a month. I
hope
think is
not.
One a month is a great expectation. I think that's a fair expectation from the community. In terms of content, I don't think it was. I would say twice as much in terms of visuals, and it wasn't unreasonably long. Like it would take somebody a month and a half to put that all together, right? Somebody could do that. We don't know who that is. We don't know who's putting that together, but.
Yeah.
I just hope there's more systems involved.
I think we all do.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. Guys, any last thoughts? Go around the horn.
I hope blog posts are still on Fridays.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely
really
on
screwed
Fridays
us
and
up.
more consistent. Yeah.
Doom, anything from you?
Not too much that we haven't already talked about. Just wanting to see more about like the core mechanics of the game itself, rather than just kind of side stuff. But not too awful much.
30, anything from you?
I guess on top of that, I think we touched on this earlier, to name reservation, or maybe a forum, or maybe a beta time. If there was some update outside the game itself, I think that'd be really neat as well. Maybe even if they open a subreddit or something.
Right.
Because they said like their Discord, their subreddit, all that's still under construction. They haven't gotten to any of that yet, and it's been 7 months since the trailer. So
Yeah.
I think they're long overdue for that.
It's been 5 months also since they said that name reservations were coming in the next few months. So
It's been a few months.
So
I think
let's just say for everybody's sanity here that you have to take what they say with a grain of salt, and rely on us content creators and other people to keep them honest about what they're actually coming out with. As I said before, we are the first 4 people to sing their praises and be excited about Hytale, but we got to be honest. If they're saying they're selling us a bill of goods and they're not delivering on that, we can say that. We're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Guys, next time we get a blog post, we'll meet back up. I want to thank 30, LividLion, Knight0fDoom. Go follow them. Go check out all of their awesome content. Each one of them is doing something really exciting. If you don't subscribe to their channels, join their Discords. You should. You should feel bad that you don't. If you're here and you don't do those things, my gosh, that's so rude. How dare you, 45 people that don't subscribe to them. No, these guys are awesome. Thank you for answering my frantic call to do a stream on a Wednesday night. And
I was out for lunch, and then Kodiak, hey, Knight, are you available? Okay.
I need you to run home right now, get a camera, and
Right
figure
now.
this out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, I had a lot of fun. For all of you that were here for the stream, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can follow all of us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Discord. You know the drill.
we're everywhere.
We're
Everything,
everywhere.
yeah.
Go follow us. Go hang out with us. And we will see you guys next time. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at the Game Gurus, thanks for watching, and play on. See you guys.
Take care, guys.
See ya.